Hello and welcome to Chapter 1 of this Introduction to Rigging. We hope this tutorial will help you to understand the basics of rigging as used on sailing vessels. As mentioned in the intro, all boats differ and some of the features shown here have been simplified to explain their workings. Please subscribe, feel free to share and enjoy this chapter as well as the following chapters to come. So this is our boat as it looks without the rigging. The first item that we will need to add would be a mast. The mast allows us to raise a sail, which is our main propulsion. This mast can be manufactured from various materials and its design depends on the size of the vessel, its features and its intended use. While we do find some sailing boats with unsupported masts, most will need some support between the mast and the hull. This adds structural support to the mast, which will be subjected to some extreme forces. Most times this support will be in the form of cables. These cables will be spliced onto fittings and will connect the mast to the hull at various places around the vessel. The amount of cables and their positions will depend again on the design of the vessel. The cables will be attached at the top or near the top of the mast and run to their hull fittings. This rigging is known as standing rigging. We should expect to have a cable running to the front or bow of the vessel, known as the forestay. Then we have the shrouds which run to the side or beam of the vessel, and finally the backstays which run to the back or stern of the vessel. These are at times also adjustable. Now we have our boat with its supported mast, which is now nearly ready for a sail. Just to once again confirm, this is standing rigging. We now have a mast that can support a sail, but we will need something else with which to control the sail. We can now go ahead and add the boom. The boom will be attached to the mast and it's important to note its movement. This attachment, known as the gooseneck, allows the boom to move up and down. And it also allows the boom to swing from side to side. Because this boom can move up and down, we need a way to ensure that it does not drop into the cockpit. And we need a way to have control over this up and down movement. Let's add a line to the end of the boom which can control the level of the boom. This line is known as the topping lift. If possible, we need control over all our lines to be done from the safety of the cockpit, so probably this line will run from the end of the boom and end up in our cockpit. The line is shown here in blue. Let's follow this line and see where it runs. We start at the end of the boom where the line is connected and move up to the top or near the top of the mast. It moves around some blocks or pulleys and heads down to the base of the mast. Through some more blocks, along some guides, through a jammer and onto a winch. Before we continue, let's have a closer look at jammers and winches. Here we see 4 jammers, all marked and at this stage closed. Even while closed, these jammers will allow the movement of the line from the front end of the vessel to the cockpit. The closed jammers prevent the line from moving away from you. If we had to open a jammer, the line can now move in both directions and the line can be eased out. With the aid of a winch, we can increase tension on this line which will raise the boom. If we open the jammer and release the line from the winch, our topping lift line would release and the boom will move downwards. So we have to make a habit of closing jammers once we have used them. Now our boom can be prevented from falling too low towards the cockpit. At this stage, however, we have no way to prevent the boom from moving upwards, unintentionally, during a gust of wind or heel of the vessel. We can now add our next line, which will be attached to the bottom of the boom and prevents the boom from moving up. This set of lines holds the boom down and will be known as the kicking strap, the kicker, boom bang or preventer. It too will probably end up in the cockpit. It starts at a set of blocks which allow you to exert great tension on this line. It follows a shorter but similar path to the topping lift and will move through runners and jammers and be close at hand to a winch. Just as with any line, the jammer prevents the lines from running out. The winch can be used to increase tension and secure the line. If you open the jammer, the line will run away from you, so remember to close jammers when not in use. So now that we have our mast and the boom, and ways to control the boom, we can start to think about hoisting a mainsail. The mainsail runs up the mast through a track, so we will need a line to hoist it up with. Once this is done, the sail will be up and will be ready to sail. Here is how this line could run. Due to the forces needed to hoist the mainsail, this line might not end up in the cockpit. It could run to the mast, but about that in a bit. It is attached to the top of the sail, and the line will then run to the top or close to the top of the mast and back down again. This line or halyard goes up around block or pulleys, down through the regular guides and jammers, and to the winch. If this line has to move through too many blocks and pulleys, you might find this jammer and winch nearer to the mast. This makes it easier to pull down on the halyard and raise the sail. Some vessels would therefore have the winch and jammer in a different area, in this case on the mast itself. Whenever we work with the mainsail, we will probably have to raise the topping lift. This relieves the tension on the sail and will allow easier handling. Now remember that to raise the topping lift, the kicker has to be released. So first thing to do would be to release the kicking strap by opening the kicker jammer. Once this has been completed, it will be possible for us to raise the topping lift and make sure the jammer is closed before we remove the line from the winch. Our topping lift has now been raised and the mainsail is ready to hoist. As stated earlier, this line might not end up in the cockpit, so it may be necessary to do this up on deck. Use the winch and some assistance if required, and winch the sail up using the mainsail halyard. Ensure that the mainsail halyard jammer is closed or the sail will just run back down again. Our sail is up and ready for sailing. Now, we need to lower the topping lift just so that the sail has the correct tension. Make sure the jammer is closed. Then we can go ahead and secure the kicking strap, and again ensuring that the jammer has been properly closed. Once we are done sailing, we need to think about lowering the mainsail. As stated before, we would like to take tension off the sail when working with it, so we will need to raise the topping lift. We are not able to raise the topping lift till the kicker has been released. This can be done by opening the kicker jammer and easing the line out. Now we can go ahead and raise the topping lift. To look after ourselves, our sails and other equipment, we want to avoid having the sail come crashing down without control, and also avoid friction buildup when we let lines slip through our hands. So when we ease out a line to lower a sail, it's recommended to put a few turns of line on the winch. The amount of turns will depend on the conditions and weight of the sail, but we want enough control so that if we ease out on the line, the sail lowers, and if we give some tension on the line, that the line stops. Here we've added 2 turns which will allow us to control the sail once we open the jammer. We can now lower our mainsail in a controlled fashion, which will minimize danger to our equipment and give a fellow crew member time to ensure the sail is correctly stashed in the sail cover. Now we can again set our topping lift, and finally we can secure our kicker or preventer. When working with the mainsail, try keep the vessel headed into the wind and minimize the swing of the boom. More on this in the next video. Subscribe, share and comment. We are not experts, we are still searching for our coconuts, and we value all contributions. Until next time, bye bye.